And today is International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. To help us dissect this issue, we are joined by, of course, a gorgeous lady, but with very important information that the society needs. Her name is Daisy Kahwenga, a consultant with Data. Daisy, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Great. It's fun to have a pretty lady doing great for the society and studying hard as well. So today we are not celebrating, commemorating.
Yeah.
Is a more neutral word, commemorating the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. So first of all, what is the significance of this day?
So this is a very important day as it raises awareness on the pandemic that, the world experiences of illicit trafficking and drug abuse. So it was established by the United Nations General Assembly in 1987 with the aim to to create that awareness on the problem that drug abuse has, and also to strengthen the cooperation and to strengthen the way we then go about raising awareness as well. So it's very important.
So what are the current statistics of this epidemic in any context?
Yes, so it's a very big problem, and you find that at the moment in Zimbabwe there's a high prevalence of drug abuse, and you find that the psychiatric admissions, there's close to 60% of psychiatric admissions in Zimbabwe are related to drug abuse, and with most drugs that are being abused being cannabis, so that's the highly abused drug, it's cannabis. And then you go down the ladder to cough syrups. So in your pharmacies there is a huge thing that's happening where cough syrups are being used to elicit an effect, and you get also alcohol, illegal alcohol, and crystal meth is also another prevalent drug that's being abused.
All right, so I think one of the most important things is that what are some of the major causes of someone deciding, let me start drugs? Because I think the awareness is everywhere, and I think people are educated enough and have at least one piece of information that gives you the dangers of drugs. But some people then went on to take drugs. So what is causing people to do so?
There are various factors, and so you have to look at it on a three-tier factor. So you have the internal factor, which is sometimes there is inheritance. So you find that some people are genetically predisposed to actually being more addicted to substances and whatnot. So there is that thing where you just inherit it. And then you find...
still in inheritance, sorry to cut you, but still on inheritance, maybe you could just elaborate. Is inheritance part of the cell structure, or someone within the family line took drugs and then it then had to move to the person?
That's a very good question. I think it is from a cellular perspective as well, and so in your DNA there's coding for
high affinity.
Yes, a high affinity as well for that. And it could also be because there's someone in your family that experiences, so you also get to be affected in that sense. Yeah, so genetically, from a molecular level or DNA level. Yes. And
to those who have no excuse of the DNA,
yes, those who don't have an excuse,
what is causing them to do so?
It can also be coming from a dysfunctional family, and so you find that some kids are just trying to, or kids or adults, they're trying to alleviate the stress of coming from a dysfunctional family, and so they resort to drugs, they resort to illicit substances because of that. And then you also then get your peer pressure. So one of the biggest factors among the youth is peer pressure. And so, the friends you keep is very important to choose your friends wisely. And you find then kids go down the wrong path because of, someone just coerced them to try it out, and they just had a high affinity and got addicted to it, And then from a broader sense, there's also the socioeconomic factors. So poverty and things like high unemployment rates drive people to finding solace in drugs.
All right. Because you're so sweet when you say to find solace, it sounds so fancy. But of course, we did. You did speak about the causes of drugs. In as much as your voice sounds sweet, but it's not quite solace.
Yes.
Now, moving on to the consequences. People think they're trying to alleviate something and probably creating a bigger problem. So, what are the consequences of abusing drugs?
Yes. So some of the consequences of abusing drugs is, you know, in a person, physiologically, you know, can lead to so many health issues, right? It can ultimately lead to liver damage, kidney damage, cardiovascular issues as well. And so it has an effect on the physiology. It has an effect on your interpersonal relationships. So you find that family gets broken because, you know, someone is using drugs and they can't get, you know, they just can't get that grip to get help as well. So yeah, there is quite a lot of consequences in that sense.
All right, so we spoke about the causes, the consequences, and there's so many ways. I just want you to now tell us in brief. Now, coming to the part where we're trying to rehabilitate someone from the drug and substance abuse, maybe you can say this in brief, especially mentioning the boot camps, because you mentioned that it's also psychological, but some people think using violence, beating people who take drugs is the issue, of which it causes more damage. So could you touch more on the helping of people who are drug addicts?
Yes, I think it should always be approached from a place of empathy and not judgment. And I'm really proud of our country from where we've come from, because how we used to address you know, drug abuse and all of those things, it used to be crime and justice centered, where, you know, people would go to prison instantly without actually trying to find what the root is, right? And so things like those boot camps, they don't actually dive into the root cause of, you know, what is causing the person to resort to drugs. And so now we have policies and legislations that look at a more comprehensive view. So they look at a holistic view as to why is this person, you know, resorting to drugs, whether it be whatever it is, you know, they actually now trying to figure out how best we can rehabilitate the person so that when they do come back to society, they don't go back.
Oh, thank you very much. That was very informative. I don't know if I can summarize that just before we move on to sport, but she's probably saying if you're not a professional, don't handle sensitive cases, because a lot of psychological aspects play a role in that, and violence is not the way to, you know, to stop people who are already in a retaliation mode. And that was Daisy Kahwenga, who is a consultant with Datas, joining us this morning. Thank you very much. Very informative and very relevant.
Thank you so much.
All right, and the time is no longer on our side. Of course, we have to take a look at what is happening